Today's how to build is on Springtrap from Five Nights at Freddy's. So, as you may know, some of the characters I have been building recently on my new channel have been characters that the YouTuber Break101 has not built. And so far, those have only been Funtime Freddy and Enard. Springtrap, however, has been featured on his channel. But the thing about it to me is I wasn't exactly satisfied with his Springtrap. He basically what he did was he made a tutorial on how to do Bonnie, Toy Bonnie, Withered Bonnie, and Springtrap, and so he just did a recolored version of Bonnie. However, when he changed it into Springtrap, first of all, I wasn't a huge fan of his color scheme, and I also didn't think he had enough detail for withering. He left the bow tie on there, which is absolutely wrong, but Springtrap does not have a bow tie. He didn't have endoskeleton feet on it or anything. So, and again, that was partially because I understand it would be hard to just completely remake a whole model for Springtrap himself. So I decided that I was going to make Springtrap. And also in this video, I'm going to show you how you can turn Springtrap into Scraptrap. So, anyways, let's just get into this building tutorial. So, as with all of my Five Nights at Freddy's creations, I always like to start my tutorials by going from the feet and working my way up through the legs to the torso, arms, and then finally the head. So, Springtrap is obviously no exception. So, do note that there are multiple different colors that you could use for Springtrap. It's kind of controversial on what color he really is. Some say he's like golden, some say he's more of a tan or like a yellowish brown. I personally think he's like a mossy green, so I just use like a giant mixture of like lime and dark green and just normal green, stuff like that. You can just differentiate the colors however you want. You can also differentiate the kind of withering he has on him. I just mix some like gray and also some things that have like holes and tears kind of looks in them. So you can basically do whatever you think just looks best for him. I'm not going to specify where you should put different pieces for different pieces of withering, but I will just kind of basically tell you the basic shape of it. So anyways, to start off, you want a 1x3 plate, and I'm using dark gray, but you can use light gray if you so desire. And then you want one of these 1x2 cheese crater slopes. You just put that on there. And then you want 3 1x3s in dark gray or light gray. This can also be a cylinder brick, but I think the individual plates just kind of add a little bit more shape to it. And then you basically just want to build in green 2 layers of brick. I mean, on this side I'm using a cylinder brick and then a green plate and then a dark gray for just some withering and then an extra green plate. That's just how I'm doing it. Again, you can just kind of mix and match however you want it. He is just kind of like multiple shades of green all over the place for me, so that's just kind of how I like to make it. And then what you want to do is take a plate and then put a 1x2 brick. I like this Technic brick to show kind of some holes, tears in them. And then put that there, and then center that on top. I'll also note that I'm using this green flower piece. That way, it kind of has a hole in it, so you can center that in the into the brick. There you go. You got 2 legs, and that foot fell off. There you go. So now you got 2 legs. Set this off to the side, and then for the torso, you're basically just going to create basically just 2 layers of 2x3. I'm doing it like this just to mix up the color scheme a little bit. And then you just want a tile, and then I kind of like to have a lime green tile and a dark green tile just for some shading. And then you just want a jumper plate. I'm using gray just to show some endoskeleton, plus it's just easier to find a gray jumper plate than a light green one. And then you can just take the legs, stick them on underneath there. And then you have his legs completely done. And now that that's good, we can move on to the torso. Alright, so for his torso, I'm not actually going to take the torso apart and then rebuild it and show you how I built it. But I will basically just kind of tell you the basic layout of it. So his torso is approximately 1, 2, 3, 4 plates, 5 plates, 8 plates, 9 plates, 10 plates, 11 plates, 12 plates tall, and then plus the bar piece, and then the tiles on top. So basically that's 12 plates, or 4 bricks, plus the bars, plus the tiles on top of there, and then you can basically just do the different pieces of damage and shading of green as you wish. A little tip, something I actually did was I took a cheese slope and put it on the first plate, and then I put this on top, and then I used a flower piece, and that just fits into that corner, so it just shows like a good amount of withering right there. Also, I just used a little Erling brick there. Maybe put some Technic pieces in there, show some damage. I like this to show the kind of like, I guess, the guts or the organs that are inside of him from the corpse, purple guy's corpse that's in him. You basically just want to put that on top. I basically put just a 1x1 plate and 1x1 tile on top of that, and I guess like maroon or like dark crimson red. Not exactly sure what color that is, but I figured that was just kind of a good way to show some endoskeleton. For the button, I also, at the same time, I just did a 1x1 plate round, and then just did that. You could do maybe like a neck bracket or something right there, and then put a 1x1 round on that, but I wasn't willing to go to the trouble of using up a neck bracket for that, so that's just what I went with. Also note that it's probably best if you use this type of clip with 3 segments. The other bar piece won't really. I mean, you could use the other bar piece, but this one's much better for keeping the arm in place. So, but anyways, that is basically how you can do his torso. Now we're gonna just move on to his left arm. So now getting started on his left arm, I use this design for Funtime Freddy. So I'm using the same design on Springtrap here. Basically, I want to start off with an Erling brick in green, and then I want to flip that sideways. Then you want to take a 1x3 curvy downward slope, stick that on there like so, and then you just want a bar piece. I'm using gray. It doesn't really bother me that's gray showing up on green because it's more like just some endoskeleton showing through. And then you just want a 1x2 plate, and then a 1x1 plate. I'm using it in round because it's easier to find. It doesn't really bother me. It shows just kind of some like maybe texture, so that works for me. And then just a 1x1 with clip on there, and then you basically just want a cylinder brick, and then a plate going like that. And then for his hand, you want to do a 1x2 with the bar. Make sure it's like this with 3 segments. And take this, a 1x1 plate, and a neck bracket. You can use light gray or dark gray here. I'm just using what I had at my disposal. Then you want a cheese slope right there. And then you just stick that on. And then for the fingers, I'm using black hands because I just have a lot of them. They're really easy to work with when you're making something that has, I guess, endoskeleton type hands. He doesn't really have endoskeleton hands, but it does kind of show through. I do have some lime hands, but I don't have nearly enough to add on to his hands. So you could also like add some, so mix like greens, maybe add some gray in there because I know some of his fingers have like endoskeleton showing through them. But I'm just using black because it's really easy to get by with. So there you go, have that, and then finally you just want a clip right there. And actually, now that I think about it, I'm just going to show both of his hands. Basically, both of his arms are the same thing, just a mirror image. Again, just different the shades of gray, however you like it. Different shades of green. So that is basically how you build his arms. So now you can take his legs with the torso and then attach his arms into the middle of that segment, or you can just break it. And then there you go, attach that in the middle there. His arms have a very good amount of articulation. Just kind of move that up and down. rotate it down there, and you could just break it again. His hands do have kind of a tendency to pop off, but don't mess with it too much and it should be fine. There you go. And now finally, we're going to get to the head. Alright, so his head has a bit of a unique design, but it's fairly simple. My last two animatronics were from Sister Location and our Funtime Freddy, so they had opening faceplates. Springtrap doesn't have anything like that. So, but anyways, first you want to start off with one of these rhino plates. The 1x2 that's connected to it is going to be shown. So I actually like to use red to show the purple guy's, I guess, corpse's jaw. That's kind of like on the inside. If I had it in dark red, I'd rather use that, but I do not. So you could also use maybe like gray or green or dark gray, whichever one you have. Whatever one works best for you. And then for the bottom, you want to take a 1x1 plate with clip. It's going to be totally covered up so you can get away with some other colors here. And then just a 1x1 plate. I'm using it in gray and round just to show some endoskeleton. Then you have that there. And then you want any 1x1 plate with a hole going all the way through. Again, will be totally covered up so you get away with some other colors here. Stick that just like that. And then you want a Travis brick, although we're not going to attach it just yet. So first, you want to build onto the rhino plate here. So the first thing you want to do is take, for the jaw, one of these 2x2 under tiles. And then, so you want to take 2 tan 1x1 rounds. These are going to be his teeth, because his teeth are kind of like a tan color. And then you want to take just a 1x2 plate, stick that underneath, just like that. And then for the upper jaw, you want to take a 2x2 plate and then take some tiling. I like to mix up dark green and lime green here, so it's like that. And then we just want a jumper plate and then a 1x1 round. I'm using a tile, but if you don't have a tile, then just a plain 1x1 round will do here. And there you basically have his mouth all finished. And then for his eyes and everything, you want to start with the Travis brick, and then a 1x2 plate and green. And then for his eyes, I like the dark gray for his eyes. I see a lot of people always using white, which I'm not a big fan of that, because if you look at his eyes, I mean, they're kind of like darkish with white pupils, so you could use black, or I just like the dark gray because I think his eyes are mostly dark gray than anything. So there you go, and then that fits perfectly right there. You might have to adjust the 1x1 with a hole in it right down here, but if you get it right, it should line up perfectly. So there you go, you have that all complete. And then for the back, you just want a 1x3 curvy downward slope, and then just a 1x1 green plate. You can probably get away with something different here. It'll be mostly covered up except for the bottom of it right down here. And then there's kind of an interesting technique I used. I basically used wing plates, stack them on top of each other. You're going to want 2 pairs of opposite ends. And you want to stick that on there, and that basically gives some like nice curvature to the back of his head. So I want to just do the same thing on this side. There you go. And then just for some extra shapes, I added 2 1x1 tiles. You don't have to add these, those are pretty much optional, but that's just what I went with. And then for his ears, start with a 1x2 plate, and then 2 1x1s with clip on top, just like that. So for his right ear, which is kind of broken but not entirely broken, you want just one of these 1x4 curvy downward slopes. Some people might think this is a little bit too big, but it doesn't really bother me that much. And then just like 2 1x1s in gray or dark gray, and then just another 1x1 in green. That's basically to show some, like, there is endoskeleton showing through, but it's not completely endoskeleton. Then you want to just stick that into there. And then on the other one, you want to take a one of these circle clip plates, and then you want to take a 1x1 tile, stick that there, and then 1x1 tile on this side, And then on the on this tile right here, I'm just gonna kind of stick that into that for a second. I chose this gray flower piece, but you can also use a 1x1 round. And then I chose a minifig hand. I thought this was a really great representation of what his kind of broken ear looks like. So that's there. And then just kind of stick that on the other side and twist it down. Even though there is a stud on that side, it still does fit relatively nice on onto the clip. And then you just want to center that onto the top of that Travis brick right there. And there is his head complete. And finally, you can take the body and stick that onto the jumper plate like so. And you can just break his leg. That works too. So there you have Springtrap in all of his glory. Honestly, he's my favorite character of the whole Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. I don't think in the LEGO version, I think I prefer my Ennard, but that's just me. But in the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, he is, in fact, my favorite character. If you want to turn Springtrap into Scraptrap from Five Nights at Freddy's 6, you're going to make a few quick modifications. One, I'm just going to take this, move that, and then you can probably take this and move that over here. That works. And then I'm going to take off this arm, move that off to the side, and then we're going to build something kind of new. Basically, just take another Erling brick, but this time you're going to place it like that, and then then you just fall over, and then you just want to take a cylinder brick that goes like that, and then I like this tooth piece to show kind of just like that broken what's left of a bone kind of sticking out of his arm. So there we go, that works. And then for his hand, we're gonna just quickly remove his hand here. You basically just want to replace all those black minifig hands with white ones to show kind of as a bone, I guess a skeleton, fingers kind of showing through. And then you just stick that back in. And then finally we're going to replace his feet, so we'll set him down to the side for a second. So you want to take off the endoskeleton feet and break off his hand. Yeah, not gonna lie, this is one of my sturdiest of builds. So then what you want to do is take, this is a 1x2 bracket with a 1x2 plate and a 1x2 jumper plate, and then I took some minifig pants that are in green. I use like a sand green for the toes right here. I just thought it was fun to mix up some shading again. And then I just did the same thing on the other side, but with different shades of green. And then stick those on the bottom. I always found it odd how Scraptrap has he has normal animatronic feet, but then Springtrap, who came before him, has endo feet. Pretty sure it's because they're the same character, but it's like in a different suit. It's kind of weird, but so yeah. So there, if you wanted Scraptrap, there he is. Might not be the most satisfying thing. You could modify it some more if you really feel strongly about it, but I don't really care for Scraptrap that much. If I want Springtrap, I'm just going with normal Springtrap. But so there you go. You want Scraptrap, there it is. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, why not feel free to subscribe and leave a like. I will be making more Five Nights at Freddy's characters in the future. I think the next one on the list is going to be Scrap Baby. Might be. I might do someone else. But I have multiple characters on the list coming in soon. But until then, I will catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.